guys. It is Sunday, December 3rd, um, early afternoon, East Coast time, and we're just coming off of UFC Austin, the fight night or headlined by Benil Dariush and Arman Sarukyan. Um, yeah, it was a pretty solid night of fights. I'm not gonna lie. A couple of stinkers in there. Um, a lot of underdogs overcoming the odds. Um, let's see. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and break that down from start to finish. Recap the craziness that ensued. Um, and yeah, let's get right into it. So, before we do, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Help you boy out. Um, Leave a comment, even if it's just to call me bald. I don't even care at this point. Just let's see some interaction in the comments. All right, without further ado, we had a split decision win for Veronica Hardy, who looked really good out there. Um, Horth is enormous. She's like a flyweight Megan Anderson. Um, yeah, they both look good. Um, the size disadvantage for Hardy was, I think, the killer for her. She ended up getting it done, but it was a pretty hard fought and perhaps controversial decision. But she was definitely uh, showing more in terms of striking offense, and we like to see it. So next we had Jared Gooden getting a rear naked choke over Wellington Turman. The fight was pretty back and forth in the first round. Turman was having some success on the feet. It was basically a glorified boxing match. Um, and yeah, yeah. And then Turman got rocked real bad in the second round pretty early, taken down, and in a scramble, gave up his back, and Gooden capitalized. Got a rear naked choke over a decorated Brazilian Jiu Jitsu specialist. Um, Next, we had Rodolfo Bellato and Ihor Potieria. Um, Super competitive fight until it wasn't. Like, they were just smashing each other with bombs. Um, yeah, really good, fun fight until it finished, until the end. Um, Potieria almost had Bellato finished. Arguably could have been stopped. Like, I don't even know if I would have been upset with a stoppage there. He was defending, but intelligently is the questionable word there. But in the end, yeah, like they're fucking just smashing each other with elbows, just heavy punches. Um, I think even some knees got through. But yeah, I think Potieria gassed himself out going for the finish in the first round. Not so much gassed himself out, but left spent a little bit of the gas tank that he could have used um, in the second round, perhaps. But yeah, that finished by TKO for Bellato. And then here's where shit gets wild. So Drakkar Klose and Joe Selecki, they fight, and under 2 minutes in. Um, so first of all, um, right off the bat, Selecki goes for a takedown, gets it. Looks to be fairly dominant in securing and keeping the position, or keeping a dominant position, and then it he got um, Drakkar Close. Sorry, had a little brain fart there for a second. Drakkar Close got a reversal on the ground, and which led to him being on top. Selecki goes for an armbar. Close, like, gave him a little bit of a slam, but still didn't get out of it, and then picked him up a second time and just smashed him right on the side of his head and put him out. That was straight up the impact of the uh, his head hitting the mat that put him out. Like, there were a few follow up punches, but they were not necessary. Um, Albeit, I think Drakkar Close is kind of weird in that post fight interview, um, wishing he had hit him more. I mean, all right, man, all right. Um, Next, um, similar fashion, Cody Brundage gets a slam followed up by punches on Zach Reese. 5 seconds later, uh, in round one, then then Close got his. Or I'm sorry, 8 seconds later. The math isn't mathing. Um, but yeah, we knew that Reese had holes in his game in terms of his takedown defense. He's been taken down before. Um, Brundage flubbed a kick, fell, and instantly got like an ankle pick and took him right down. Um, and yeah, in similar fashion, um, he had sort of like a feet on the hips, sort of like a butterfly guard, or not really butterfly guard, but um, it's a similar to it. Um, and then ends up throwing up an armbar and gets slammed on his head, and followed up by punches on the ground by Brundage, which in this case, yeah, maybe they were a little bit necessary. I don't think the slam knocked him right out, but anyways, we move on. A little bit of a combat jiu-jitsu match in this one. It wasn't too exciting. This is what I was referring to when I said there were a couple of stinkers. Um, yeah, it was okay. Both ladies, early to mid 30s, and Misha Tate's got a lot of miles. A lot of miles on her at this point. But she got it done. Limped away from the victory there. Um, but yeah, she got it done. Like I said, it was basically like a combat jiu-jitsu fight. If I had to call it anything, just a lot of grappling, a lot of grappling. Next, we move on to Dustin Stoltzfus and Punahele Soriano. Um, this was a pretty competitive fight. Um, Old Puna, he hasn't really looked too motivated, we'll say, in his last couple of fights. Um, but he was connecting with some big left hooks or overhand lefts, and Stoltzfus was doing good at managing distance, attacking with teeps and elbows, and just a much more varied striking attack, which I think um, made the difference in this one. They both had their moments in the fight, surely, but when it came to the ground or any sort of wrestling or takedowns, the defense for Puna just wasn't there, and Stoltzfus was able to get him down with pretty relative ease. Um, Not much else to say there really. He gets it done by rear naked choke. Probably some pretty crazy odds on that one. Second round submission victory for Stoltzfus. Anyways, Joaquim Silva and Clay Guida. That goes the distance. Again, they both sort of had their moments. Silva took a long time to sort of warm up in there, it seemed. But yeah, again, they both had their moments. Um, Clay Guida, old as fuck, but still putting up solid fights in there. Um, the level of competition in Silva is a little bit questionable, but yeah, I mean, Silva ended up getting it done, rightfully so, in my opinion. And then we move on to Sean Brady over Kelvin Gastelum. Man, what a clinic! Um, yeah, Brady looked really good. I had uh, I had high hopes for Gastelum back down to welterweight, but you see it pretty often when guys make weight class changes. Sometimes it takes them one or two to sort of get the routine down. Um, I don't know what to say. It was a nasty submission, but yeah, Sean Brady gets it done by Kimura pretty early on in the third round. Um, Next one was pretty surprising. Um, I mean, I guess a lot of the questions were answered, right? Um, Figueiredo's chin held up at bantamweight, maybe a little bit better than it did at featherweight, um, or flyweight. Sorry. Yeah, his speed was still there. He was able to connect on Font um, with hooks before Font could get through with like a jab sometimes. It's really fast um, and really powerful. Um, I'm actually pretty surprised that Davison didn't get the finish. Um, he had Font really wobbled there near the end of the fight, or I forget when it was specifically in the fight, but yeah, looked like Font was going out, but he did not. He held up unanimous decision for Davison in his bantamweight debut. Next, we had perhaps the the latest stoppage in reffing history. Made made Mario Yamasaki look good. Um, but yeah, Jalen Turner and Bobby Green, um, just a straight KO early in round one, or midway through the round, and then just followed up by so many unnecessary punches. Yeah. Hope Bobby Green's okay because that was rough. That was really rough. And then next we had another early finish with Beneil and Armin. Um, Beneil looked sloppy in there, just like sort of lunging in with a big overhand left, just like leaving himself open. Um, that was like one of the first strikes he threw. Just immediately just did not feel good about it. But yeah, he ends up getting caught with like this knee right hook combination. The knee barely connected, but as he was coming down, as like he threw the knee, and then as his foot was coming back down to the ground, he threw a right hook, and it just KO'd Benil. He dropped like a sack of potatoes. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much the the night in a nutshell. Mike Perry got a win over Eddie Alvarez in BKFC as well. Um, Corner stoppage at the end of the second round. Yeah, I mean, pretty good night of fights. Some exciting finishes. Some rare finishes, especially to happen back to back on the same card. Crazy, crazy. But yeah, that was UFC Austin in a nutshell. Um, I wonder what's next for Benil. I I really don't know. He tends to not really deliver against the upper echelon. You know, he's got some aberrations in there where he's maybe overperformed, but yeah, it is what it is. Um, yeah, again, solid night of fights. Hope you guys enjoyed them, and that about wraps it up. Leave a like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Love you guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.